It's a holiday special episode of the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast. We hope you are feeling as festive as we are. Dave, are you in the holiday spirit right now?
I'm in the holiday spirit. I'm feeling festive. I'm also feeling pretty sick, so we're fighting through that. And unfortunately, I slept through the game last night because I was sick and recovering, and that looked like a good game to slam basically everybody's overs. So I missed out on that. So hopefully we'll find some good angles to make up for it this week.
Yeah, I feel like the entire Christmas season is about rediscovering that magic that you felt when you were a kid. At least that's what it is for me now that I'm in my 30s with children of my own. And Phillip Rivers throwing for 250 yards will do that. It felt like childhood all over again. Sorry to hear you're feeling under the weather, but veteran move by you to get your holiday bug out of the way on a Tuesday before the day. So thank you for being here, Dave. We appreciate it. We have a good show in store for you. This is the only episode of this podcast this week. We will return next week, but our typical 2 episodes per week is nixed given the holiday week. So hopefully we can fit in 2 episodes worth of value in one. We'll take a look at some wins from last weekend. We've got a Christmas slate preview for you. I've got college football bowl games to bet with you. We even have targets for the NBA King of the Court tonight. Let's start, Dave, with some things that our listeners should have bet.
Should have bet that.
Nice little bounce back for the best bets. 2-1. The Cardinals missing 2 field goals prevented a sweep, but
come on.
Shout out to the Jaguars for getting us a win, and the over in the Philly-Commanders game as well.
Yep, it's pretty good. 2-1 anyway, like you said, just shy of the sweep. If they had a couple chances late too, they just could not get it done, those Cardinals. But we did say it was one we were a little apprehensive about, but we talked our way through it. Almost came through. Nice little hit for you on the Mumfield ladder. Couple hits on that on Thursday night. Guy had like 8 targets, only caught 3 balls. Could have been an insane night for him. Just drops all around in that game, which was pretty nuts because everybody went off still. But yeah, and you basically called it. I think we did just overlook. It was just going to be Puka Nacua funneling every single thing. Speaking of Puka Nacua, that offensive player of the year shout out we gave last week on this Tuesday show. He was plus 1,600. He's now plus 185. JSN is minus 185. It's going to come all the way down to the wire for this. And if he has another couple nuclear games, even one, and JSN is a little quiet, he may steal it. He may already even have stolen it, but we'll see.
Yeah. And on that note, Dave, I'd like to congratulate Puka Nacua for winning Offensive Player of the Year. He is going to roll down the stretch of this season. You called it, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, it was a sweet bet. I was actually wrong. I actually had it plus 2,000 earlier this season, so I should have just doubled down on it at those good odds. But hey, whatever. We'll see if it gets it home and wins us a little sneaky play there. Speaking of the Jags earlier, we called out a little division winner parlay. It was a month ago. It was actually the Thanksgiving episode of the Jags, Bears, and Panthers to win. Actually, it was Jags, Panthers with some value. And I said, take your pick in the NFC North. You asked me which one I'd take. And I said the Bears. Give me the plus 350 value or whatever. Here's where that stands right now. Getting a little cash out of $112.75 off $5 for this. It was plus 93.50. This is plus 195 if you were to play it right now. The Jags are minus 550. The Bears are minus 900. The Panthers are plus 125. They got the Seahawks next week and the Bucks in week 18. It's going to get fun down the stretch, and we might be able to steal something here. I did a little round robin, so if just the Jags and Bears hit, it'll leave us something. But the Panthers at that plus 500 can come through for us. This will be one of our better calls of the season. And yeah, we gave it to you a month ago on the Thanksgiving show.
Yeah, feels like just yesterday. Time is moving fast, but that's the whole goal of this show. We want to lead people to some winnings with the help of the models. So kudos to you, Dave, for calling this one. Hopefully the Panthers can come through, and we can each buy our family some extra presents in the new year. How about that? Reminder, Dimers Pro is what you need to get all of this information yourself. The winners that we bring to the table on this show are coming directly from the model that is Dimers Pro. Promo code podcast, you get 50% off your first purchase of Dimers Pro. without further ado, let's go to some takeaways from Week 16 in the NFL.
For me, it was a pretty eventful week, but I really just got one big one. We're coming down to the stretch here, and, there's always not as much to take away. These teams that are kind of out of it, there's not a lot to learn. So whittling down really to the teams that have something left to play for. This team does have a little bit left to play for, but it's unlikely things are going to turn around for them. And I have to wonder what is next for the Ravens and John Harbaugh. This season seems like it has all but come to an end. And when Baltimore ripped off 5 straight in the middle of the season, it did look like they were going to be the inevitable winner here of the AFC North. And it turns out some holes are just too deep to dig yourself out of. A 1-5 start is one of them, even in a division where only 2 teams are competing for the title. And the Steelers haven't exactly run away with it. It's just too big of a hill to climb. Maybe if you play elite football, you can pull yourself out that kind of turnaround. But elite is really not what I'd use to describe the Ravens for most of the season. They still got an outside shot if they win out and the Steelers lose out. But Pitt is playing their best ball of the year, barring a pair of upsets, which would be the Ravens over the Packers and the Browns over the Steelers here in Week 17. It's over for Baltimore. So I just wonder where they go from here. Besides Lamar, there's not a lot of, and I mean, Lamar's not exactly young, but there's not a lot of young talent or inspiring playmakers outside Zay Flowers, aging, but still very good RB in Derrick Henry. But, primarily early exits in the playoffs, with the exception of 2023 when they lost in the AFC Championship since that Super Bowl win. And it's been about 15 years, and you have to start to wonder if it's time to hit the reset button a little bit.
Yeah.
Not for lack of trying.
Yeah, I feel like, the model loves the Ravens, or has loved the Ravens at points this season. I remember early what they started so cold. Lamar was clearly hurt trying to play through it, and still showing value to take Baltimore at any given point. And it's kind of crazy it never came together. I still think it's just something off with Lamar. I mean, he misses the second half. Tyler Huntley comes in. He's just the furthest thing from durable as far as star quarterbacks go. And you have to wonder if this really does fizzle out to the point of just a disaster season down the stretch here. Is that it for John Harbaugh? It could be. It's starting to feel like there's smoke in Baltimore that everyone just needs a little bit of a reset, Lamar and John included. So we'll stay tuned on that. I want to add one takeaway of my own that is very much in line with the Ravens coming to an end. My Detroit Lions suffering a similar fate. I mean, we talk about throwbacks. Phillip Rivers is back. How about Aaron Rodgers owning Detroit as if it's 2010 again? I mean, this was as must-win as a must-win game could get. And Detroit obviously tried to make some heroics happen late. The pitch play that was called back, 2 offensive pass interference penalties in the end zone. It was excruciating as a fan to watch. But I was talking to a buddy of mine. As Lions fans, it really isn't all that hard to accept the devastation of a loss like that, because this team doesn't deserve to make the playoffs right now. They have been really bad at home this season, all season long. They took Jameis Winston to overtime at home. They lost to J.J. McCarthy, swept by the Packers. This team has just shot themselves in the foot. And obviously, Ben Johnson, former offensive coordinator in Detroit, in year 1 leads Chicago to the NFC North title. I've tried to be out in front of that on this show, but it's hard to come to terms with the fact that maybe there was only a 2-year window for Dan Campbell's Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I mean, he said something somewhat foreboding along those lines a couple years ago, right? About this might be our only window, whatnot. And then they were great pretty much the next year or 2 years, and they were still fine. I was actually surprised when I was looking at some research for this that they were as far on the outside looking in as I didn't think that they would need a win out and a lose out by Green Bay to get in. But yeah, here we are. Just got a thing on that a little bit later in the show, but as members of the our team's lost to JJ McCarthy club, I think that's probably the one win we would like to have back if we could pick one this season.
It's the one thing you and I can go to our graves bonding about, Dave. We hosted the Diamond Sports Betting Pod together, and we lost to JJ McCarthy. Good Lord. Let's move forward and try to reassemble our lives here. It's time to talk the Christmas Day slate.
The Early Edge.
What do you got, Dave?
Real quick before we get into the Christmas Day slate, I just want to highlight. Oh, it's week 17, not week 16 here. But I just want to highlight a couple of spots that are on the site that we'd probably be talking about if we were doing 2 shows this week. There are 3 bets leading the board, all money lines, all over 60% probability on a team to win. And they're all hitting the sweet spot, the new signal that we've added to the site to show you where the model's finding success over time. And those 3 bets would be the Steelers over the Browns, the Saints over the Titans, Packers over the Ravens. On a real quick surface level, Saints one is the only one that kind of gives me pause, but they've been playing pretty well. Tyler Shuck suddenly second in the offensive rookie of the year race. It's just they've shown a lot more heart than I think you would have expected. So you got 3 bets here, all with an edge, all on the money line, all hit the sweet spot, which is money line bets in this particular edge range, returning 19.7% ROI over 46 bets this season. Anytime you see the sweet spot on site, if you hover your cursor or tap, if you're on the app, which is coming soon, or you're on mobile, obviously, over the sweet spot signal itself, it'll tell you exactly what the ROI and bet history is for those plays. So there you go. Some early Sunday value that we'd probably be talking about if we were doing 2 shows this week. And yeah, Steelers, Saints, Packers, money line. All right, on to Chris now. First up, let's see. We'll go through these, I think, game by game and just pick out the best angles. We'll cover our spots. I'll pull up the first one, which is Cowboys-Commanders in the Commanders Stadium. Here we go. So, sorry, lost my spot in my notes. All right, Cowboys -7 entering here as favorites. Over-under is 50.5. Kind of saw that bounce a little bit. I think I saw it 48.5 earlier. That has risen up. But 2 teams with absolutely nothing to play for as far as the season's concerned, except for their shared hatred of one another in this rivalry. Cowboys dominated this game in the first meeting. Jaden Daniels left early. It was the first action I believe Marcus Mariota saw this year. And now he injured his hand in Sunday's loss to the Eagles. Didn't practice today. Trending towards not playing, I would think. So that would put veteran Josh Johnson in line to start, who came in relief last week versus the Eagles, as he has done for many a quarterback in his 10-year career, playing for 14 different teams. If Mariota plays, I'll say I could definitely get behind this model value +7 on the Commanders. He's shown enough to me to keep it competitive, at least against a very vulnerable defense like the Cowboys. Had the game of his life practically against the Broncos just a few weeks ago. And you're getting a 57% probability and a high value edge on Commanders spread. The Cowboys defense looks like it's been backsliding and it's already been poor. And you just would like to think that guys like Terry McLaurin are going to be able to find success against the Cowboys defense that's led up time and time again good performances to receivers. But I will say, if it's Josh Johnson, I am out on the Commanders in this. The guy's a career backup, drafted in 2008. All right. He's had 5-year, 3-year breaks in his career where he wasn't playing, bouncing between the NFL, XFL, UFL. The man's attempted fewer than 400 passes in his entire career. So it's just not going to get me to jump on a line in week 17 behind a quarterback like that. Cowboys definitely want to close out on a high note here, win their last 2 games, both against division rivals, walk away with some good vibes to the season. I think their ceiling, offensive ceiling anyway, is just simply too high versus the Commanders defense to let Josh Johnson and co hang in this one. So if it's for me, I just say give me the Cowboys -7 and the under. No major lean from the model on the total. So kind of dealer's choice.
Dave, we have come so far from just auto taking the over and the underdog in every Cowboys game this season to concluding with a Cowboys -7 and the under. Take a look at our personal growth along the way as this journey has unraveled. But I totally agree. I want no part of Josh Johnson at this point. I can't even remember his name, Dave. He's been in the league for 20 years, and he's done nothing noteworthy enough to me to know his last name. Let's move on to the next Christmas game. This one is my Detroit Lions. Or wait, do you have prop stuff that you want to go through for the Cowboys first? Excuse me.
Yeah, let me just hit a couple of quick things, just some notes that I took. Again, it's not going to be a lot of stuff here because if you can't even find Commanders receiving lines, I think so. You're not going to get a whole lot of early value. There is a bunch of TD value in this game, I will say. We got Pickens gets value at 2+ for the Cowboys. Terry McLaurin is 1 and 2+, I believe. Yep, here he's 1+. 39% +210, not bad at all. Chris Rodriguez, 50% and +121. So you're getting some really nice value there. Devo's got an edge. There is a nice sweet spot prop for Dak, over 22.5 passing completions. He's cashed this in 6 straight before last week, 10 total times this year.
Woo!
A pretty good spot, 58%, -115. High value edge and a sweet spot. Could certainly see them trying to pass their way and just put up the points in this game and the year on a high note, as mentioned. Quick look at the projections. We got Javonte Williams leading the rushing at 80 yards. He's plus money for 80+. And just we won't know this until we get any injury updates, but Jake Ferguson might see a little uptick in this one. He's been kind of quiet in the second half of the year, but Ryan Flournoy is questionable, which is going to open up Jake Ferguson back again as the third primary target. He scored a pair of touchdowns versus Washington in the first game. Got him for 44 yards and a 33% TD probability. Certainly think he is a guy with upside in this one.
Yeah. Yep. I would love to back a Commanders receiver or the entire receiving room like I always do against the Dallas secondary, but with Josh Johnson, I just can't talk myself into it. Flournoy's been fun to watch his emergence. I love the Dak sweet spot. That's probably the only prop that I'll be seriously considering for Cowboys-Commanders. Unfortunately, I mean, we're still going to have fun betting it, don't get me wrong, but unfortunately for NFL fans, it's not the sexiest Christmas Day slate of all time with all these quarterback injuries, which leads us to Lions-Vikings. JJ McCarthy has been ruled out for this game. So, hey, why not? Max Brosmer, come on down. It's Lions -6 in what is presumably a must-win game for Detroit, but I don't know what to expect from my team. Can you help me make sense of this?
Yeah, we're going to try. I will just say McCarthy was ruled out like within the hour before we started the show. So a little small caveat to the predictions we have as things are going to be updating over time here. And I think it's actually caused a little bit of a hang up here because technically this Vikings money line should have an edge at 44% and +225, but we're probably in the middle of some transitional stuff here. So keep an eye out for that, at least a little closer. Maybe even by the end of the day, we'll probably see some more updates here. But regardless, you got a tough spot for Minnesota, whether it was McCarthy or Brosmer. Look, McCarthy, he's won 3 games in a row, and it was a really rocky game for him on Sunday, though, until he broke his hand, which came out right before the show. Hairline fracture, completed just 9 passes despite the win over the Giants, but that wouldn't have been enough against a better team than the Giants. And now you're putting Max Brosmer out here, who threw 4 picks against the Seahawks, including one that you could tell he's definitely watched Carson Wentz play because it was a truly fascinating, like, I don't know what he was doing. He was like getting sacked and decided to throw it backwards. Not unlike the Mark Andrews pitch on Sunday, which was another just mind-boggling move we've seen from him. But it's going to be a much better spot for Detroit against Brosmer, obviously. Personally, I was going to be on the Detroit side of this anyway. Models lean for Vikings +6 is only at 51.4% and has a negative edge. It's probably honestly +7 now. I saw it in a couple books, and I think if Brosmer's definitely playing, it's probably going to settle in around there. Do think it's interesting that after the news, it only moved 1 point. That they're set, maybe they were already cooking in McCarthy not playing, probably. But either way, the Lions need to win this one for the vibes, for a bounce back. 3 straight losses or two in a row? This would be 3 straight if they've lost it, but they've traded wins and losses for about the past 7-8 weeks. And they also need to end this season on a high note, even if they can't make the playoffs. If they want to make the playoffs, they need Green Bay to lose their final 2 games, but they have to win theirs, and it starts here. I think they're going to go pretty hard, in this game. I just can't really get behind Minnesota here with Brosmer. I'm glad the model's not showing like a big probability that we kind of have to talk our way around, like in Commanders, which is tied to Marcus Mariota at least, but just really hard to believe in them with a desperate Lions team and a third string QB.
Yeah, it'd be a lot different with a healthy McCarthy, that's for sure. I've talked about his Tebow-like tendencies to just spiritually win games he doesn't deserve. Hard sell for me with Brosmer. I watched way more Max Brosmer preseason football than one man should ever willingly admit on a podcast. He's terrible. He's really, really bad. And I it's weird because this Detroit team, I'll be honest, I don't think there's going to be much inspiration. I could be wrong, but I think the way they lost that game at home to Pittsburgh is just a knife through the heart. I mean, yes, Green Bay could lose 2 down the stretch here. Yes, you could win out. It's weirdly like a look-ahead spot. They're going to Ben Johnson at Soldier Field in the final game of the season. Even if the Bears have nothing to play for, he's going to want revenge and to slam the door shut on his former franchise. And they're just a better team than the Lions right now. I think this is kind of let last week's loss linger spot for Detroit, which leads me to some props that I will be playing. But I'm going to let you survey the land first and see if we land on where I'm headed with how to bet this game from a prop perspective.
Yeah, well, here's one that I'm not on, Justin Jefferson. I talked about it last week going back to the well. The lines were actually not better than I thought they would be after that game. So the value wasn't super great, but he did get 85 last week. And it's not something I'm touching with Brosmer under center. So forget that for me. One I am on, Aaron Jones and TJ Hawkinson receiving yards, if the lines are good. Brosmer getting the start right before the show, took the lines down. So don't have anything to reference right now as far as the lines on the books. But we've got TJ Hawkinson for 33 yards, Aaron Jones for 13 receiving yards. Definitely going to be some dump-offs by Brosmer. When he got that start last time, Hawkinson caught all 6 of his targets for 59 yards. Aaron Jones caught 4 for 22, both receptions and yards. Probably going to find some plus money chances without having to go too high up a ladder there. Touchdown-wise, Amon-Ra, 50% plus money. He gets an edge for 2+ as well, 16% plus 850. We'll touch on that a little bit more. But if there's a single player I'm looking at in this, it's Amon-Ra or Jameson Williams, I think, from a receiving perspective. 65 receiving yards for Jameson Williams. Any sneaky prop value. Touchdown for J-Mo, plus 195, 37.6. Like I mentioned, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So a few options here. Jahmyr Gibbs, 3+ tutties, got an edge. Wouldn't surprise me if he's got one more in him this season. Vikings rushing defense has been really bad lately, so if there were ever a time for him to do it late, it would be in this one. 11% plus 1,500. That's very substantial. Should be only plus 900 there.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to see more and more Jahmyr Gibbs. Also, just on the Amon-Ra stuff, if he is healthy, I totally agree that plus money with Amon-Ra is almost a must bet week to week right now. He was on the injury report coming off the conclusion of the loss last week where, he had a couple plays he kind of got crunched up on in the final minute and was trying to gut through it before the final play where he was a yard short. I probably wouldn't touch anything from a Detroit perspective in this game, truly. What I am interested in touching here is Aaron Jones props for Minnesota. I think we just saw one of the worst rushing offenses in the league in Pittsburgh run all over a banged up Detroit defense. You listen to the leader of that locker room, Aiden Hutchinson. He's just like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I have nothing I can say about this. Jaylen Warren broke off multiple 40-yard runs. To me, Jones is a workhorse. He's a workhorse even if JJ McCarthy was healthy in this game. You assume the backup quarterback in, they might just go all in on the ground game against a Detroit team that cannot stop the run right now. I think the only thing for me in this game, given Detroit's uncertainties, is going to be backing Aaron Jones, possibly a ladder play on the ground. Won't surprise me whatsoever if he approaches 100 yards rushing in this game.
Interesting. That would certainly be a look. I mean, he's taken it over from Jordan Mason, who's totally regressed into, the RB2 that he is. And like you said, Jalen Warren, last week had multiple explosive runs, and Kenneth Gainwell with the freakiest deep ball touchdown catch I've ever seen that helped kill me in fantasy. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's got multiple angles.
Yep. Okay, one more Christmas game to get to here. This one is the Broncos and the Chiefs. Once again, a game that would have a lot of sex appeal if Patrick Mahomes was healthy. Instead, we have a dead dog Kansas City Chiefs team and Denver Broncos team that I think should roll here. What do you see?
Yeah, absolutely think they're going to roll. Minus 12.5 point favorites, steamed up to 13.5 for the Broncos in some places. That would make Kansas City the largest home dog they've been in franchise history. So uncharted waters here for sure. Over under of 36.5. The totals just keep getting lower as we go through this slate. Last I checked, Dimer's model is 50-50 on the total. Slight 52% probability lean on the Chiefs plus 12.5. You are getting almost even money there. But if it weren't for that, you wouldn't even be getting an edge. Huge 91% money line probability for the Broncos, of course. Yeah, Chiefs are sending out quarterback Chris Oladokun for his first start, basically first NFL game action, except for last week, since he was drafted in the 7th round by the Steelers in 2022. So,
Dave, I'm convinced he's a computer-generated player. I've never heard of this human being.
It's just AI coming to fruition here at the end of the NFL season. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that it was surprising to me that the Chiefs, I mean, it's the third string, but really? I mean, that's crazy that we are starting someone who's never played basically since he was drafted. So, really no idea what to expect here. But safe to say, fantasy-wise, if you're in it in the ship and somehow have Chiefs players, I wouldn't be playing them, that's for sure. Maybe Travis Kelce is a safety net, but I just think Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and the old guys want to go home at this point. The season has been really rough for the Chiefs. You can't tell me they're coming in inspired. Gardner Minshew, did not tear his ACL, fortunately. But he's just such a likable guy that him getting injured is also a blow of morale to this team, even though he's just the backup. This team is just down bad right now. And you got to wonder, how are they even going to score in this game? 10, 13, and 9 points the last 3 weeks. That 10 points was with Pat Mahomes playing against the Texans' elite defense. So I just don't think you can expect much of anything from here. There's no lean from the model on the total. So I would say give me the under. We've seen Broncos games be incredibly low scoring this year. I don't think the Chiefs are scoring more than 10. I don't think the Broncos are going to bother scoring 30 in this game. And you've got the Chiefs, plus 12.5 at just 52%. Again, if this was a high value pick, I could probably talk myself into it. But if you can get the 12.5, I'm probably leaning on the Broncos side of things here. We got 3 games with quarterbacks, backups, and barely starting in their entire career. So just kind of hard to get around any of them or any of these totals.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard to find props in the Kansas City game, especially from the receiver room, right? With the new quarterback in, you can barely even bet on Chiefs receivers at this point. So I don't know. What are you looking for? Is there anything you even want from a prop perspective in this game?
I mean, I'd probably have fun just slamming basically every Chiefs starter under if they existed, but they don't. So, I mean, you got Rice capping out at 46 yards, Worthy at 33, Travis Kelce at 32 behind him. Just not going to find many appealing angles for these guys. They're probably going to have lines that are too high to be worth playing because of the pedigree. Rushing wise, we do project Pacheco for 40 yards exactly. He's plus 120 for 40 plus, so little bit of an edge there. But can't say I find anyone appealing to score on Kansas City side at all, of course. Broncos side of things, I do really like RJ Harvey in this game. Chiefs gave up 102 and 52 rushing yards to Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears last week. 61 to Hampton in week 15, 68 to Woody Marks in week 14. Harvey's been rolling 5 touchdowns in his past 4 weeks, yardage totals of 65 and a career high 75 in that span. Should have room to run in this one. Broncos, I mean, they could try to get up big early, bombing it out to Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin and whatnot. But I think there's a better chance they just hand it off to RJ Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin, maybe at the end of the game, and just kind of let them run down the clock, run their way to some scores. 16.9% for 2 touchdowns, plus 500. That's fair odds. 52% to score. I think he was like minus 115, so it's not even very juicy. Harvey looks like a pretty fun play in this one for me.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty from all parties involved. Teams that wouldn't mind a loss on Christmas Day, teams that are breaking in third-string quarterbacks with no hope on Christmas Day. It can be boring. It can be ugly. It can be chaotic. May I propose maybe the most chaotic, evil way to possibly bet the Christmas Day slate?
Yes.
Okay, we kind of floated this a couple weeks ago, and we got real creative, and it totally fell on its face. So caveat, this is me stretching and being creative.
I know what you're talking.
Can we bet every defense to score against these terrible quarterbacks?
It's not a bad idea. Little defensive round robin. I thought you were going to go with the 2+ picks after the golf one we talked about on our own.
Yeah, we tried
those guys through one.
So my fear there is I think we could even see, like I said, with the Vikings, maybe they don't even throw the ball. But
yeah,
I was watching this Colts game last night, and I was obviously, you and I live bet. We do our best to keep a pulse on things the model likes, and we'll text each other from time to time. I was watching this game stretch out. Phillip Rivers down 2 scores. He's, at his own 5-yard line. And I thought about firing off a San Francisco defensive touchdown live bet because you could tell Phillip was starting to throw some throws he didn't want to throw in a normal game script. Sure enough, 70-yard pick 6 to put the nail in the coffin. Who's to say we're not going to see this? If the Commanders trot out Johnson, if the Vikings have Brosmer, and if the Chiefs have the guy I still don't even know how to pronounce his name for, could we round robin Cowboys defense special teams, Lions defense special teams, Broncos defense special teams, a 3-pick Christmas Day defensive touchdown round robin? It is 206 to 1 if you wanted the 3-leg parlay, but I'd have to imagine just a quarter unit on the 2s round robin might be one of the more fun bets we could make.
Yeah, you've sold me, honestly. They're plus 500 for the Cowboys, plus 500 for the Lions, and 475 for the Broncos. It's all pretty appealing to me. It's all about 17% implied probability. Feels pretty good against these guys. Obviously, you're not going to have much data on any of them, but Josh Johnson, I'm sure, has thrown his fair share of pick 6s. Brosmer threw at least 1, or it was a fumble 6. There were 2 fumble returns for 2 defensive touchdowns, both scored by DeMarcus Lawrence in that game. So, why not?
I'm going for it. This is probably the only way I'm betting the Christmas Day slate, but I would have never gotten there if not for our discussions on this very show. So let us know if you want to tail my defensive touchdown round robin on Christmas. Pour some eggnog, tweet at us, and we'll ride together. Dimers Pro is where you can get these insights that fuel these conversations every single week. Reminder, promo code podcast gets you 50% off of our beloved Dimers Pro. You've also got our more traditional round robin here. We've been going with touchdown round robins for offensive players all season long. It was last week where we unveiled our 2 touchdown round robin as opposed to our first touchdown round robin. So are we going with that strategy again for Christmas week?
We are going to go back to 2+ TDs. And it's kind of bit me in the butt last week. We got 1 total anytime touchdown out of our 5 guys to score 2+ TDs, all in really good matchups. It was pretty bleak, but we're going to go back at it here. Look, I talked about some of these guys already, so we're probably not even going to get too deep into it here, but I'll pull it up. We'll go through it. Please admire my Christmas colored theme I put on this graphic.
Love it.
If you're watching, thank you. RJ Harvey, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and George Pickens, 2+ touchdowns. We talked about all three of these guys already, so not really going to break them down much further than that. But just to recap, we have an edge on both Amon-Ra and George Pickens to get 2+ TDs. So you're already getting value on them as standalone bets. And RJ Harvey is the highest probability on the slate with the exception of Jahmyr Gibbs, and is totally or like right at fair odds at 17% and plus 500. So you're not overpaying for any of these guys. You're getting a little bit of value. You can mix this up as a first TD if you'd like. You get similar odds and probabilities. George Pickens, I believe, was also plus 850. Harvey, I think, was 475 for first touchdown, and Amon-Ra was plus 850. He might have even been better for first TD. And I will mention, you have to bet responsibly and only what you can afford to bet on long shots like this. But since it's only 3 players, you could split what you might normally put on the round robin between a 2+ and a first TD if you want. Just a few different ways to use this data. If you want to keep it to just a little anytime TD parlay, I didn't check the odds, but RJ Harvey's minus 115. Amon-Ra's, I think, plus 125, plus 115. Pickens, I think, was plus 125. So you're going to get pretty nice odds there as well for a little 3-legger. But all of them in solid matchups. All of them should have their chances. You just got to see him find the end zone twice.
And even better odds than my floated defensive touchdown round robin. So there you have it. Multiple ways you can go about this on Christmas. Fingers crossed that we can deliver some winners for you. Speaking of delivering winners, Dave, it's a lot of people's championships in their fantasy football leagues. Let's go to your fantasy waiver wire next.
The fantasy waiver wire.
I had alerts set for updates on your fantasy football results, and I got the ping to my phone notification. You've been eliminated. I'm so sorry, Dave.
I have been eliminated. There will be no more updates for me. There will be no more waiver wire ads for me. But I'm here for you guys. I'm a man of the people, and I'm looking at the data and crunching the numbers and helping you guys find some sneaky plays for championship week. Hopefully, if you made your championship, you don't have these issues where you need somebody to pick up in a pinch. But you never know. There's surely some Patrick Mahomes teams out there who might have survived and now find themselves on the outs. But I faced Puka Nacua in 2 leagues, so I was cooked.
Goodness.
Yeah, not fair. Excuse me. But yeah, top pickups last week come through again. Bill Krosky-Merritt scores. Michael Carter put up his season high in yards. Some pretty thin options out there in week 17. You don't need anyone in fantasy. I would just consider these guys basically mini sleepers to bet on for yards or a score. We've continually seen them cash in and take advantage of opportunities, especially the top guys. So more than one way to use this data. And before we get into these guys, if any of the previously mentioned players are out there, please go get them. Michael Carter, Blake Corum. Carter gets a league best matchup with the Bengals. Blake Corum continues to emerge. If he's out there at all, if you're in a shallow league or a league where people aren't active, go scoop him up. But anyway, let's get into the final picks of the season here. Jawar Jordan and Dylan Sampson for running backs. Talked about Jawar Jordan last week. Didn't score, but in Woody Marks' absence, he handled 20 total touches, caught 5 passes, 53 rushing yards, 17 receiving yards. Marks may suit up this week. He seemed close to doing so last week. I just saw he was back at practice before the show. But still might be worth a stash if you're RB desperate. And there's a good chance that they're going to work him in as the RB2 over Nick Chubb, who looks just completely washed. So 35% TD probability, 24.9 rushing yards in our projections. Dylan Sampson for the Browns, only if he's healthy. He's been banged up and missed a few games. Been on the shelf since week 13, I believe. But could have a big role if he's ready to go. He'll have the Bills on tap, notoriously bad rushing defense. And with Quinshon Judkins just now vacating his role due to injury, he's got 3 games with 50-plus receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns this year. So even if this ends up as a timeshare with Raheem Sanders, who you should go get if Sampson is ruled out, he should get his receiving look still. Right now, we've got him projected for 40.6 rushing, 14.7 receiving, and a 19% TD probability. It's a pretty good floor again to chase against a Bills rushing defense. Moving to the receivers here, just a couple. Parker Washington, previously featured on the show in this segment. 2 games with at least 18 PPR points in his last 4. T-Law is playing the best ball of his career right now. Colts just got shredded by Brock Purdy for 5 tuds, allow the 3rd most points to wide receivers in fantasy this year. Parker Washington has a modest projection of 2.9 receptions and 40 yards with a 29% TD probability, but certainly has upside. Luther Burden, he's banged up as well. Could be my number 1 pickup if you were healthy right now for week 17. If Rome Odunze remains out and Burden goes, he's going to see some increased value. With Odunze out in week 15, he posted 6 catches for 84 yards on 7 targets. Week 14, 4 catches for 67 yards on 6 targets. Makes those big plays. If he's active versus the Niners, I'd make him a wide receiver 3 flex guy. Projected 3 receptions, 35.6 yards, 18% TD. Moving to the tight ends, Brenton Strange, another Jaguar who's been featured on this, started strong week 16. 5 catches, 39 yards, touchdown, 7 targets. Scored at least 13 PPR points in 3 of his last 5 games. A little quieter a few weeks ago versus the Colts, but for the most part has been very productive since he came back. Colts ranked 8th in fantasy points allowed to tight ends. Profiles as a nice low-end tight end 1 in pretty much all formats. Projected 3.7 receptions, 42.2 yards, 23% TD probability. Taysom Hill for the Saints led the Saints in carries last week with Kamara, Miller, and Neal all out. 42 rushing yards, 4 catches for 36 yards. Also threw a 38-yard TD pass. So you get that true Swiss Army knife output from Taysom Hill. Depending on if Alvin Kamara is back, his role will be different. I don't know why they would bring Alvin Kamara back at this point, to be honest. And Taysom Hill's looking like he's probably ending his career or his Saints tenure after these 2 games. So might see featured pretty heavily there. 35% TD probability for him. And just a couple QBs I'll shout out. Tyler Shuck. I can't believe we're here, but 19.1 fantasy points last week, which he's done in 4 straight games. 5 of his last 6. Titans rank 9th in fantasy points allowed to opposing QBs. He's the guy. If you need somebody, pick him up. 233.5 passing yards, 18 fantasy points in our projections. And lastly, if Marcus Mariota is not out in this game, you're getting a great defense with the Cowboys matchup. Great matchup with the Cowboys defense. Only 2 QBs have not scored 20-plus fantasy points versus the Cowboys this season. Mariota scored 20-plus in 4 of 7 full starts. So if he's playing, I would pick him up. If he sits and you're desperate for a second QB in a 2 QB or super flex league, you could play Josh Johnson. But if you only have 1 QB, I would certainly look elsewhere. That's pretty much it for the final waiver wire of the year. Slim pickings out there. Hopefully you don't need one. And if you do, hopefully one of these guys can come through for you.
Yeah, there you have it. Okay. It's always special to win a fantasy football championship. If you are one of the lucky ones or maybe skilled ones who still has a chance to do so, you can send your flowers to Dave at the Dimers headquarters. We'll get you all the information. He helped you get there, surely, with weeks of our fantasy waiver wire. So good luck in your fantasy championships. Let us know. Tag us if you win and we were able to help you with some of these pickups. Make sure you subscribe to this show as well. This is the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast. We do it typically twice a week for our holiday spectacular week here. We're only doing one this week, but make sure you subscribe to the pod so that you can get all of these information pieces, all these segments in real time as quick as you can to help you in future fantasy leagues. Next up, it is college football time. Bowl games are here, and I've got 3 more picks for our college corner.
College Corner.
Dave, it would be unlike me if for College Corner in Bowl Week edition, I did anything but give you 3 Big Ten games to bet. Luckily for me, the model loves all 3 of these. Very high probabilities, very high edges amongst them, and they were all 3 already on my card in my sweet spot in this Big Ten conference. So let's get right to them. We start with Minnesota on the money line against New Mexico. Now, they are 2.5-point favorites, so it's juiced up minus 125 on the money line right now. If you want to take it at -2 and get more fair odds, I think it's minus 105 right now at minus 2.5. That's still a high probability, high edge play. Both are featured in our model's best bets list for bowl season. So I am simply taking the money line. I would rather just bet Minnesota to win outright and lay the juice. I think either is a play I would advise under that key number of 3. The key thing to note here, PJ Fleck, Minnesota head coach, untouchable in bowl games. He's undefeated. He's 6-0 in bowl games as the Minnesota head coach. The only fear for Minnesota in bowl season is typically, do you run up against some sort of power conference opponent that might just have bigger, better dudes than you? If Minnesota has the better players, the better athletes, they've been lights out in spots like this under PJ. And I expect that to hold true. New Mexico is a feisty opponent. First-year coach Jason Eck has been phenomenal. They will throw the kitchen sink at Minnesota. But I think that could lead to some negative plays as well. If you look at New Mexico's losses this year, their quarterback has 8 turnovers in those games. Minnesota top 25 in the country in forcing turnovers on defense. They capitalize on those negative plays. I'm all over the Golden Gophers here. I love it at money line, but I would also play it at minus 2.5. The choice is yours to our loyal listeners. Next up, we're going to take a total here. I'm looking at Northwestern Central Michigan. I love the under 43.5, and our model agrees. Now, this is a home state bowl game for me and for Central Michigan. This is at Ford Field, and obviously Northwestern's nearby as well. It's not a close or not a far drive, but you would think this is about as close to a home field advantage as Central Michigan could possibly get. Central Michigan, if you're unfamiliar this season, also a first-year head coach. They run the old military style offense, multiple quarterbacks. They're running clock. They're keeping it on the ground. They'll have games where they throw the ball 6 times and just play time of possession, field position battle. Northwestern, a team that typically loves games that are trench based. I think there's 2 possible outcomes here. Either Central Michigan is able to keep the ball on the ground, limit possessions, and kind of control the game script, maybe score 2 to 3 touchdowns in this game and hang, or they're completely ineffective and Northwestern blanks them. Either way, I think both game scripts are pretty conducive to an under. Back-to-back games at the end of Central Michigan season went very low scoring to unders. Northwestern's been a good under team all season long. I will be all over the under in this game on December 26th, the morning after Christmas. One more play here on the card for bowl season. I'm taking a look at the Penn State Nittany Lions. Now, Penn State getting a key number here, 3.5 against Clemson. I feel like not enough love has been thrown at Penn State for reigniting their season after firing head coach James Franklin. They were a dead dog. Everybody was out on this team. But importantly, the players stayed together. And outside of Drew Aller's season-ending injury, this is still a team that was picked as high as 2nd in the preseason polls, that we really believe in the talent of. They're 2-headed monster in the backfield of Nick Singleton, and Katron Allen is like untouchable. If you go through the games that Clemson has struggled this year, they have not been able to contain teams on the ground. And this really has a case for the best rushing attack in college football on paper in terms of talent. I think Penn State's going to lean into their strength. It maps with a Clemson weakness. Penn State plus 3.5 is a really, really good spot for a Nittany Lions team that has won 3 straight coming into bowl season. They really cared about getting to a bowl game after all their troubles earlier in it. I think they're going to care about winning it as well. Add them together, Dave. That's the full card. It's Minnesota money line, Central Michigan and Northwestern under 43.5, and then Penn State plus 3.5.
Nice, dude. Thank you, Greg. Bowl season can get all wonky with opt-outs and coaches leaving and everything. So thank you for guiding us through this tricky situation.
Always, it's chaotic, but it's fun to bet bowl games, let me tell you. And hopefully we can end College Corner with a bang. Next up, let's talk some King of the Court. This is one of the best promotions in sports betting with DraftKings. Now, tonight is a very special version of DraftKings King of the Court because there are $3 million bonus bet pools. That is unique and something I have not seen before from DraftKings King of the Court promotion. Dave, tell the people more about this and how we're going to bet it.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So they took a couple of weeks off because the slates were dry with NBA Cup matchups, but we are back. And now you don't need to get the player with the highest total. He just has to be one of the top 3. You can still only bet it once. You get 1 token, but this effectively gives you 3 chances, as you don't have to get the top overall player. So we'll pull up ours. It's slightly switched it up with 3 long shot picks in our top 3 this week to kind of match the 3 million. Stupid banner. So what we'll start with is our top overall. Nikola Jokic here, the Nuggets, projected for 53.4 PRA. Top of the slate, more than 10, clear of the next player. Elite triple-double upside, 4 already this month. Even in his quiet games, he pushes 40-plus PRA. He had 14, 13, and 13 in his last game. He projects for 30 points, 12.3 boards, 11.0 assists. Really good rebound matchup versus the Mavericks, who allow the second most boards, and I believe are particularly vulnerable against centers. Might be a fun little angle there to play Jokic's boards as well if you don't take him for King of the Court. Next, Jalen Johnson of the Hawks, 42.8 PRA. Second highest on the slate, over 50 PRA in 6 of his last 10 games. Atlanta's offense is just running through him. Crazy triple-double upside here. Faces the Bulls, just dropped 56 on them on Sunday. It's PRA, not points. Chicago is bottom tier in points, rebounds, and assists allowed. No reason he can't flirt with a top 3 spot tonight. Then you have Dija, third, projected for 41.7. He's having his career best season. Major jumps in scoring and assists. Got him in top 20 league ranks in both of those categories. Tougher matchup here versus the Magic. They're top half in pretty much all defensive categories. Most big PRA games for him have come in softer matchups. He doesn't really have double-digit rebounding or assist projections tonight, so his upside's a little limited. He's probably the least appealing of the top 3 overall for me. Moving to our long shots, Cade Cunningham. He's our 5th highest projected total at 40.8. Massive ceiling. He's got 69, 63, and 55 PRA games this year. Won King of the Court last season. Returned $422 on that one. Faces the Kings defense, who are ranked 26th in all 3 of points, rebounds, and assists to opponents. Great path to a top 3 PRA night here. If you're looking for a bet on him, I'd take him for like 40 plus or maybe like a 30-10 game. Donovan Mitchell projected 40.1 as our 7th highest player tonight. We're targeting a Pelicans defense ranked 27th in opposing points and assists. Pelicans allow the most points per game to shooting guards. Scoring driven upside for Mitchell. So he's doesn't really get double looks. So he's going to need a big scoring game to do this. And for that reason, if you go for him, I'd probably just bet his 40 plus points as the prop that I'm putting on. You get him at plus 485 on DraftKings. His 29.8 projection is 3rd highest on the whole slate. And then finally, Con Knippel of the Hornets, the rookie, projected 30.2 PRA. I knew you'd like this one, Greg. Deep long shot here, 42nd overall in projections. But he's facing the Wizards, pretty much the league worst defense in all 3 categories here. Also very bad against defending the three-pointer. He just became the fastest player in NBA history to reach 100 three-pointers. He's shown 50-plus PRA upside this season, 1 time. But he's got an elite shooting profile. 3.7 projected threes tonight is his 2nd highest. He's going to be a low-picked player, so he only needs to land in the top 3. If he gets up there, you should find yourself with a pretty nice bonus bet. And I will say, for all 3 of these long shots, we are targeting teams who have previously allowed a King of the Court this season. So keep that in mind. If you're going to go for a prop on him, I'd take him at 30-plus points or 6+ threes as my bet token.
Yep. I love it. Khan has been sensational. It's exceeded all expectations, and it's kind of been the story of his career. Even at Duke last year, playing with Cooper Flagg, there were moments in the season where Khan was the go-to guy, and it's just like, how is this kid so polished already? It's not a surprise to people that watched him at Duke with how much success he's been having, but I love that long shot shout, especially against the Washington Wizards. You've convinced me. Khan will be my play tonight. Count me for 6 threes as my official King of the Court submission tonight. Okay, Dave, that wraps it up for the heart of this episode. Before we get out of here for our holiday break, please tell us what else is on Dimers this week.
What's on Dimers this week?
It's week 17. We got the NBA and NFL Christmas Day slates. We'll have our NFL coverage coming at you all week long. Might be a little light the next few days as most of us are off for the holiday, but we'll try and sprinkle in as much as we can to cover you guys. Of course, our projections don't take the holiday off. They will be updated all week long. College football bowl games. No hockey on Christmas Day. So we're going to be taking a little bit of a couple breaks in some sports, but for the most part, you'll find pretty much everything you need all over the site, and we'll be bringing our content to you all the way through the weekend in written form, social content, and wherever else we can sprinkle some in, like the Discord.
You love to hear it. A well-deserved break for all parties of our Dimers verse here. It's been really, really fun to get to work on this show with you, Dave. It's been Dimers has been a really, really awesome part of my life for years now, and I know there's a lot of listeners out here listening to the show that agree. So cheers to you, my friend. Cheers to our listeners. Hopefully you will have a great holiday with family and friends and all of that, and we'll pick right back up again next week. Gamble responsibly in the meantime, and enjoy the holiday season, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Listen out.